So how's it going, everybody? We know each other already, but I thought you might like a little get a kick out of the cassette player there, or the cassette with the frown. But if you want to keep playing, music on cassettes, then just keep being, status quo when it comes to social media kind of thing. But just a little brief history. I was lecturing in Florida for the eye care community, and I had absolutely no presence online. And they were really thrilled with me and my performance when it came to clinical practice management and the whole bit. But when it came to marketing, which was my undergrad major in college, I was lost. I thought I had, everything was outdated. Like I could go back to a textbook or go online, but when I would go online, I'd be like, what is all this stuff? Social media. I'm not even on Facebook, So I called up on the last day of this class. They were signing. Actually, the class had already started, and Holly said to me, "We've already done one class. You cannot miss any more classes." And I came in for the 14 weeks and finished the program. And then, luckily for me, Holly was actually in the room and met her for the first time on the last day of class. And we talked about, I'm a big networker, I'm a big connector, and I was already connecting. But I was excited about all the stuff that I had learned here. Talked to her, and the rest was history, because she then, with Martin and Karen started talking to me about helping out in the class and doing some other classes with the state. But I don't think I would have done that if I didn't have the confidence of what just had taken place. So this presentation is not about, how to make a post on any of the platforms. As you see there, you obviously see that has room to make yourself a profile, right? And but that's not what it's about. What this is about is that a lot of you are entrepreneurs in here. Some of you already work for an organization, but whether you work somewhere or you're doing it on your own, you still have to brand yourself. If you're in the workplace, right, how are you going to stay up on top of a LinkedIn search or a Google search? How many of you have searched each other in the classroom? I have already searched some of you and your businesses. I have, yeah, and because I like to see what it is, what kind of presence you have out there. One trick that you learn in this class is you want to hit the incognito, maybe search yourself if you're trying to see where it is that you end up. But the great thing about social media is that if you just set up the platforms, which you can do, and make them look great, then you're still not doing something great about it. You have to engage out there. You have to put things that are always making your profile look great. And when Martin went to my Facebook page, this is a funny story, true story. Last night, I was doing my yard work. I got my riding mower, got about 1.5 acres. It was a nice day. My neighbor across the street invites me for a scotch because he knew we were taking a break. And he sets up the chairs outside his driveway and everything. And his wife, who worked for a large company, was flying to London. And on the way out, she says, "Oh, you guys look adorable there." And she took a picture of me. And I decided to post it on Facebook. And then the Saturday night, I served as a judge for a talent show, Mr. Heritage High School talent show, and Mr. Heritage High School. And I had a picture of myself, associated with this school. So I get back on my tractor. I only had one tractor, okay? So, and I'm thinking, and I'm always listening to a podcast or whatnot. I'm thinking, as soon as I get off this tractor, or later on tonight, I've got to get that post off. Because when I looked at it again, I had a scotch in my hand. No, that's not illegal, right? That's not illegal per se. There's nothing really wrong with that.
Open carry.
Well,
Neighbor's yard.
yep, in the yard.
Oh, you're absolutely usually off the
Really?
road, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It could have been a yard party, you know.
Yeah.
But the point is that I said to myself, okay, when people are searching me here, you know, they're going to see the very previous post was being associated with the high school. The very next post, I've got a scotch in my right hand. And I'm like, that just doesn't fit me. So as soon as I was able to, I took it off. Because the goal in social is to always be open. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you are an employee, you're always open. There are no set hours. Anybody can search you at any time in the day. And you could be doing great things for 8 months after you leave this class. And then one day you decide to, you know, take a little risk, or you do it, you know, and you don't really think about it. And that could be maybe dominating your search especially if a lot of people are engaging in your post. And I'm sure Martin and Karen will, you know, tell you more about that. So I had a need when I decided to do this class and do it right and keep going forward is I needed to be relevant in the world that I was serving. And I wanted to be a better speaker. I wanted that when somebody is going to give me a call to put me on a plane and, you know, let me do a lecture, that they were dealing with somebody who is proven. And I couldn't have done that without the strategy of ongoing, and then I couldn't have gotten to that point, for example, to be here with you discussing Brad's wife, you know, unless I had taken this step, all right? So, but the point was not just set up everything so that it can live online. You almost have to keep working at it, and it's always a work in progress. So what that did later on is it has started to really improve my creativity. So I see social media as a door opener for everything. So my creativity was going, and then all of a sudden, there came the podcast. You know, I saw Martin was podcasting, I was listening to podcasts myself, and I've got this all social media knowledge that I you know, a lot of us dream that one day, you know, I'd like to just make most of my money in my pajamas, honestly. I would not want to go to work. I love people, don't get me wrong, that's what keeps me, you know, but speaking about that, you know, in years past, before I took this class, my best impressions were in person. With the social media training that I have received, and ongoing after the class, it's just keep improving on it. Actually, now I consider my best impression and my best first impression my online impression. And you think about that, because I had so much confidence going and doing that handshake, and for somebody to say, "Oh, this guy is really a nice guy," because even in person, when I would enter a room of networking, I got tired of networking in person. You know, I shouldn't say that because my good friend Steve Hand, you know, has this awesome networking organization called BNI, right? I wouldn't want to tell him that, right? But I almost don't need to go and network anymore because of the type of networking that I'm doing online. So, and then the creativity that it has given me. For example, I have run into tools that make social media a lot easier. After the class, you know, we can discuss some of those tools that I use. It's all about what fits you. Like one example for me is Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, Sumo, like Sumo Wrestler. That is a tool that you can go and become a beast because it's all about these Twitter influencers. We'll talk about influencers later, but I run into people that are posting, and look what we all do, right? In business, everybody's saying the same thing. Think about it. You go to a dental office for the first time because of an advertisement. Where do you think that dentist got the creativity to get that ad? Either he had an idea from another ad he saw in another state, that happens a lot, You Google it. I myself have caught myself Googling other businesses in like Montana, for example, and then not copying, but taking that idea of a business that's really, really far away and using it with my audience. People do that all the time. Large companies do that all the time. They may get a little bit more creative than others during the Super Bowl and things like that, but everybody's saying the same thing online. The key is, how is it that you're going to have the message come out? Does it fit you? And the great thing about social media is that I had a lot of blockage in my head about what things I should be saying in marketing. And with social media, it all started pouring out. Because I was exposed to a lot more influencers, I guess is the point I was trying to make. So, I just thought of something as I was listening to a podcast. In optical, we have the three O's. You have the optometrist, optician, and the ophthalmologist, right? We call them the three big O's. Well, I'm just creating the fourth big O. Because, and sorry about the print so small, but I'm thinking of referring to any of the O's to be Olympians' O's. Like the Olympian optician, the Olympian optometrist, the Olympian ophthalmologist. And what I'm going to do with that is brand something where I can stand out by using that word and adding that extra O, because we all call ourselves the big O. We know what we call ourselves, the O's. And taking another O and adding it to the front of a specific profession within my field. And what that's going to tell someone with that catchy phrase is, this guy cares about how one of these guys, how we all brand each other. Because that's where I wanted to go next, is I'm going to do some speaking about how to hire, how to be the best optician. If you're not looking to start a business and you just want to have a great career when you come out of school, because now being 23 years in the business, I can coach a lot of the young people coming out to, if you're not interested in starting your own practice, well, how do you become that great employee? How do you become an Olympian in the field? And so that's a little example about where I'm headed in coaching. So some tips. Again, I really didn't want to get into how to do it, because we can always have a phone conversation about that. I'm always available, and I'm always got time to talk to anyone that wants to go through how I got to this point. But 5 tips that I really wanted to leave you with today, and that is being self-aware all the time. Like I told you at the top of the presentation, I was self-aware to the point that, oh no, I just don't feel comfortable with that drink in my hand online. I'm also self-aware of what impact I'm making on my, for example, LinkedIn profile, which is, how is it showing out there? So you can have a good profile, but if you're not engaging all the time and putting good stuff out there, then your profile will not be showing on Google. It helps yourself SEO, and we've got some experts here in the class. I'm not much of an expert in SEO, but I get it now. I get how this whole thing works together. Connecting without a pitch. Remember I told you I'm great at connecting in person? Well, part of the reason why people would want to keep doing business with me and keep networking with me is because whenever I'm at one of these networking events, I never threw a pitch. People just wanted to buy from me whatever it is I was selling. Usually it was glasses. Like I built my first practice before I sold it at networking, just networking in person. That was from 2005 to 2009. I sold it in 2009 to go help my wife in her practice. But I did that all at BNI, locally, the Chamber of Commerce. It was that handshake. Never tried to sell anything. Well, the same thing I do online now. I'm really authentic because I'm not ever trying to sell something online. Allocating and organizing yourself on a weekly basis. I used to post randomly in my early going after finishing this class, and then after I sat in it and helped out, I started to hear some of the other things that Martin and Karen were teaching, which is, you have to be very intentional in your social media. It has to be planned. It has to have, it can't be all over the place. And I've gotten better with that in the last 6 to 8 months on that. Following the influential people that I'm talking about, I have actually connected with some pretty cool people. I have attended some conferences, for example, Podcast Movement in Chicago, and I'm going back this year to California. Well, something interesting happened there. I went into a booth and participated in a raffle and picked my name. They picked my name out, and I got the chance to interview the great Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income podcast. But it wasn't really winning because anybody could have won that. It was the interaction that I had with him and that confidence that he told me, or that message he told me as I ran into him for a second time at the airport. That was coincidence, again. But when we were at the airport together, he was waiting for his flight to Arizona and I was coming back to RDU, is that he said to me, I really, really enjoyed your interview. He went out of his way to tell me that he enjoyed the way I interviewed him. Because I didn't really, there's some other people that may have bugged him or, about certain things. And I was really, if you go back and listen to that interview, it might be maybe number 28 on Leaders in Motion. Andres Quintana interviews Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income. And you're going to see why. He thought I was very authentic in my approach to meeting him. And, he's the big star in this space. And then being committed. When you start, like right now, there's no place for me to go than to keep going. And I'll tell you what, I've invested a lot of money and time. Like I've invested money now in podcasting equipment, improving my sound online. So what is the goal right now? The goal is I want downloads. That's the only way I'm going to make any money off of my podcast. I need to get to 5,000 downloads per episode, right? So how am I going to get that? I think social media is the key for me. Like I'm not worried about advertising or anything like that. I'm just worried right now on improving my social media presence beyond from where I am right now. So I will continue to pick Martin and Karen's brain in my journey. What do we got? This is about networking physically. Working the room. So you work the room when you network physically. You got to work the social media room. That's a big one. You got to just keep working it as if you were in person networking. I work the room. For example, this is at the front counter at the dental office. But this person actually will come and take the class next time. Cool. Albert Martinetto. But he went out of his way to make a mug for myself and my co-host for my podcast, his and hers. And his message with that is, I want my coffee shop to be the home of Leaders in Motion. Because he has gotten a lot more engagement online because we go in there and record on Tuesday nights and we cause a ruckus for his coffee shop. Online, not necessarily do people come and watch us there, but when people engage with my post, his social media presence, his Facebook, his likes, they all go up. So what am I doing there? I'm really trying to benefit somebody else at the same time. And in return, they're trying to do something better for me and my podcast. And you can accomplish all that online. The key word is connect, connect, connect. I'm now connected to John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire. I'm connected to Gary Leland from Podcast Movement. He had me on his show, Gary Leland. It was an 8-minute interview about, he has a podcast about how to fix your podcast. Are you socially aware? You got to protect yourself. Some of the things you learn in this class are critical. like being responsible and having that sense of security in your social media, that's something you really have to take serious. Do you have a plan? Do you have a system? And is it quality content? Are you just putting stuff like, I decided to post for about an hour on Sunday afternoon? That wasn't quality. But I did something about it. That's another key. Then how do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about you without being annoying? There's a way to do it. There's an art to doing that. How do you talk about you? So one of my suggestions, and I've got to probably fix this on my LinkedIn profile, is that when you talk about you, maybe talk about yourself in the third person online. And that's a tip that I heard that I haven't implemented. Because if you say I, for example, I do this, I do that, and people are Googling, your name is not linked to it. But if your name is at the top, then it might have more of an impact on the search. I come up with things like Q-tip, Quintana tip, right? Very clever. So you got to be a little bit clever to it in your posts. You don't have to be. But what is your budget? Look. I have already gotten quotes on doing radio advertisement for the dental office, TV ads, and print ads. I do none of it. Maybe some brochures that I decided to get printed for an in-house discount plan that I created that resembles an insurance discount. One of the top dogs, like Aetna discount, for example. And then I put that on print because I want the patients to go to the front counter to check out, take one of those and pass it on to a neighbor, right? But outside of that, I am not spending any money, and we are over capacity. We have patients, we're losing right now, until we open the new location, we're losing about 80 patients a week that we can't capture because we just don't have the room. And I'm telling you, I have taken my wife's Facebook page from just collecting dust 2 years ago to being a place where people actually go as if we were Google, okay, to find out what exciting things the Quintanas may be doing. Or I call them up with some interesting post. I also, speaking about Google, I've been using Facebook now as a resource, almost like Google, to find other ways to improve the quality of my posts, or find information like news and things like that. Martin loves Twitter. I'm loving Twitter myself. But I'm wondering how much market share Google is actually losing to these social media platforms. So I'm not going to read that to you because you can see it, but the preparation, hard work, learning from failure, there's no secrets to the success. Everybody is saying this. Everybody that will coach you the right way would have to be telling you this message. That's why I love this quote so much. So what are you saying to others? And you got to remember your business page and your personal page, although you got to keep them separate, you want to make sure that you're accomplishing the same things personally. Almost taking the same approach as you're taking in the business. But you want to personalize it and make yourself come out more like the true you, like someone who is human, right? But also in the most professional manner. This is my setup for podcasting now. Like I said, I've put a lot of money into this stuff. I don't have one way to go.
Mixer.
I'm not using it just yet. It's a Mackie
9-channel.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's a good mixer.
Yeah, it's a Mackie Pro 12 V2V, whatever it is. Yeah. But it was on sale. I got it, for.
I got that same mixer.
You got it, okay.
It's a really good.
Mackie
makes a good mixer.
Yeah. So
now,
I got
it. USB too. Yeah,
USB. Yeah. Okay. So I don't need an audio interface with that thing, but I do have my audio interface, which is right after you see the laptop. And I guess what I was trying to say, but that it's the new Apollo by Universal Audio, and that thing is just great. I can play my music, everything. But the sound, when I plug in my microphone, it has gate compression. It has all that stuff mixed built into it. for a good radio voice, for example. So I started off with short term. I started off with just my laptop here, and even in my podcast, it was a USB. You can see the mic kind of in the back right there.
Yeah,
It's the Yeti, the black Yeti over there. And I've graduated now to a new mic that it was actually less than this, but all the podcasters are using it. It's the ATR 2100 Audio Technica. But anyway, I was only recording and doing all my stuff on that laptop, all my social media. Then I wanted that a little bit bigger screen, so I took one of my kids' TVs, that Vizio, and I plugged my computer into it, so I got more views of everything. And then I've got my podcast stuff. But the point is, I've been growing because of the creativity and all the things I learned in social media. So, do you want to look like an expert? You can put all your profiles on a bookshelf, or you can engage and be a monster online. I'll take questions.
Yeah.
Don't show your age in marketing, and that's why I put the cassette there.
Right.
I don't mean your age. I don't mean your personal.
Buy your eyes.
Buy the way you market and promote your shop.